thumb up, but that didn't look like her thumb.
No, it actually looks like Dale's thumb.
Where did you get that?
At eBay.
Oh,
Hold on a second.
I have questions.
Apparently, I get around.
Dale's thumb. Look at that. It's only $29.99.
Dang it!
Exactly.
Why am I getting no royalties? Yeah.
He's like,
What a thumb.
I want to know why people are buying these.
Yeah.
Or
Oh
do
my
I?
gosh.
Oh, yeah. Like preserve it forever. Yeah. Right.
Yep, I unmuted myself. We are back. We are live once again, and you missed half of the conversation about hands, which is
Probably
okay.
better that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Dying over here.
So, that being
we're quite
said,
handy.
yeah, we're quite handy. So, does somebody want to give us a game recap from last game, and then we'll get this rode on the show?
Who's in charge of notes today?
Me. Because I believe, was I in the last game? Was I present during the last game? No, I was not. No, I was not. Because I was in Montana catching big fish.
Oh yeah, you sent us pictures.
Right.
Oh, so it's not my turn then?
No, I think you did last time, didn't you? You should have.
Like
No,
Brit-
Notes
Brittany
for,
did.
notes for last
Yeah.
game were from Brittany. So, Brittany, if you could do
Oh.
the recap, and Brittany,
I guess that's
and then whoever was supposed to be next in line, that's how the schedule works. So,
Okay, so then it is my time?
Yeah.
Is
Exactly.
it yours tonight?
Yep.
Or is it Derek's?
okay.
Davies for 720.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I was mistaken. I thought we had switched because I wasn't here last
you
time,
should,
so.
yes. So,
But
if that was the day you were supposed to have notes, then yes, you are up.
But was I the one that was supposed to have notes last time?
Yes.
So, where's
Yeah.
the schedule?
It is in Discord.
The Super's notes.
So last week on Modern Age Heroes,
Derek 7-6, yes. So
we went to investigate the recorder issue.
Mm-hmm.
But first we had a little discussion about the media specialist position. Harmon got a name from Rafe, a guy called Kane Walker, who is an entertainment lawyer in LA, and they spoke on the phone about what he can do for them, and then essentially we decided to have him fly out to meet us. We'll talk about what the team does and discuss if we're a good fit and what his rates are. So Polestar is given the tour of the Vein for the first time. He learns that several members of Legacy are not from around here, and so that Daddy was prolific. We discussed Red Arsenal and his shooting issues. And then we take the Ixion ship out to South Tent Mountain in Utah, where the recorder location was found. So after some interesting experience where Pulsar was talking to trees to find out where the location was. Turned out that we needed to get through the shield, and we used and that something about the area was disabling Hyperion's quantum field, so he couldn't use those powers. We figured out how to get through the door by fabricating something to help the ship match the vibrational signature that the recorders use. So once inside, looks like the whole place was made of Dravixium. There were skeletal remains of bodies with tattered clothing, indicating that they were human from the 16 or 1700s. Kind of go through the facility. It's a bit of a maze. It's kind of freaky. Drop off some security panels with palm locks, which Joan got us past the old-fashioned way. A little zip.
Bamf.
Ultimately, we found a computer which Hyperion was uniquely able to connect with, like through an outlet in his brain. And
So it's
he
it,
was-
like he didn't know what that plug was for.
pretty much,
Oh wow.
I mean, I didn't notice a plug there, but I guess I wasn't looking that closely.
Do you ever really
Um,
try to notice somebody's plugs? I mean,
I mean, it seems a little impolite.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But after interfacing with the computer, he sort of did this reset and now can understand Dexamite text, which is what everything is written in. So we found out that the facility was actually a black site, a farming simulator looking for genetic perfection among the human population and looking for preternatural powers. The Dexamite text died off some time ago, and the recorders have been operating on autopilot. We know that there are 3 captives alive from 5 days ago, so we need to get in and rescue them. But also, it sounds like the Dexamite Empire had been in disarray, so there was a scrubbing of information, which is why I have been unable to get a whole lot of information. So that's where we left off.
Good job.
Nice.
And so where we pick up the scene, everybody is still kind of huddled around that that room with the control panel that Hyperion is still plugged into.
Derek comes out of his ship like he just awoke.
Looking for his shadow. Drat! Several more months of winter.
Mm,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
darn those Salanth. Okay, cool. Let's see. We were in room number 3. Is that right?
oh,
On the
that's
map?
right. There's a map. We have a map.
Yep,
Yeah, the map.
you guys ended up exploring a little bit, and I was giving you I was edging you along to the hallways or whatnot, and then
Yeah.
you eventually I just gave you the maps. You can kind of see where exactly you're wanting to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see here. So while still attached to the computer bay, first off, this cord that leads from the computer to where you can plug it in, does it look like he'd be able to take that cord with him if he wanted to plug into other stations throughout the thing? No.
Nope.
Okay. Gotcha.
Nothing like that. You're gonna
Okay.
you're gonna have to hope that they, and presumably they will, but you're gonna have to hope that those ports, those access ports, are available at each station you attempt to plug into.
Okay.
Yeah, try some of your other plugs.
I don't know about that.
Mhm.
But
Everybody's got inappropriate minds with alien tech today.
We're in the lower level, right?
No.
Upper level. Okay.
Upper.
So where did we land? Like, I'm just trying to orient myself. I'm looking at the thing. So we are in.
so we landed in like 1A, and then we went through 1B, and I think we ended off last episode at 3. That desk in
Mhm.
number 3 is where the computers are.
That is correct.
Oh,
okay.
And you, if you go back and look at the chat, you guys got enough of the hallway because you were looking down, kind of
Mhm.
poking around to see what was further down the hallway. And you
Okay.
guys have looked at that door that's catty corner to the number 3. And that's how Hyperion was able to understand that he actually can read the Dexamite language at this point. That has been ported into his brain because he could see that led to the hangar,
Right.
which is the area marked as number 2 on the map.
Right. Okay.
So we are currently in room number 3 on the lower level.
On the upper level, that is correct.
On the upper level,
Yeah, looking at the maps.
Room- the map is lower
I-
level. Says
I
room 3.
understand.
Yeah.
Look at it differently.
Okay. So the lower level is
Ignore
the
what
upper
it's
level.
telling you about upper and lower.
Right. Right.
Okay. So the lower level is the upper level, and the upper level is the lower level.
Correct.
Okay.
And Dale's thumb is amazing.
Sweet.
Really? I just wish I had thumbs like Dell.
I know.
Sorry. If I could give you these thumbs, I would. All
For
right.
the low price of $59.99.
Oh,
Three
It's
You
$29.99.
3 payments
I mean-
of $59.99
Three
if you
payments.
if you call right now.
low payments. You got to make sure that they're low, even though they're not.
Even though they're or low, because that makes them even lower.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. So since I'm still connected to this database, a few more questions to get out of it. Does it have any information? Because there were like security cameras. Were they throughout this facility, or were there just a few of them?
There are some, because remember, I gave you guys that picture
Right.
that
Okay.
caused you all to have nightmares.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are plenty of security cameras around. Not all of them are in operation, however.
Okay. I want to look to see if there's any record as far back as what the system has, as far as like anyone else being active, especially looking to see if perhaps Electrum was here at some point.
Okay, sure. So you scroll back, a ways, just looking at like access logs or whatnot.
Yeah.
You can see that the last time that the system had been accessed, and it was just an access log. There's nothing else that indicates that anything else was done.
Okay.
But there was a check-in sometime. It was like 1953.
Okay.
So it's been a couple
But
months.
outside of that, it's just a whole bunch of text of just system checks and as it's run periodically and whatnot, and there's no login whatsoever until you go back. Like the last time that there was an active login was let's see, time frame wise, you're probably looking at let's see, what did we say? Hang on a second. Find that one again. again. There we go. So you're looking at the last potential login was 1340
Okay.
What?
AD.
Okay. So there was an access by someone in 1953, and then before that, it was all the way back in 1340.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were a couple accesses after that, so it looks like there may have still been somebody in the station at that point. But
Okay.
yeah, after that long gap in between.
Got it. Okay. All right. And no visual record of the person who accessed it in 53. Okay.
None.
All right. So we've got that. Let's see here. What information does the site have about the deviant gene, if anything?
This particular computer that you're accessing is
Yeah.
only strictly for like computer, or not computer, but security access.
Got it.
You know, from level to level, as well as like security monitors and whatnot. It doesn't have access to any of the mainframes that might contain that information.
Got it. Okay, so we're gonna have to go elsewhere for that. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, last time I remember we were able to stop the recorders from being repaired. Does it look, or yeah, I guess I wouldn't be able to tell then from this station if the recorders could be like reprogrammed or whatever. Do we have to get closer to them to
No,
find
you
that
would
out?
have to actually go to their stations for that. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Then he goes ahead then and he unplugs from the station and looks up from it and goes, "This station seems to be one that's dealing with the security of the entire facility, which makes sense given its location. I'm not able to access any deeper information if they still have it, so we'd have to access other terminals throughout the black site. But we already know of those 3 individuals that are further down. We need to see if we can locate them specifically and extricate them from this site."
Would you be able to see if, being that we are effectively half Dexamite, would we have access?
So looking in the system, plug back in real quick, and looking in the system, like what types of access are needed, or since I'm at the security thing, could I just like open up or unlock all locked doors?
Yes, you would have access to open up any potential door here. Beyond that, obviously, it's a system, or I should say, it's due to system redundancies. It doesn't have the capability of accessing any other systems that's here. In fact,
Right.
it can't even repair or do anything. The only reason why it has the capability of stopping or starting the repair is for security purposes, because it can activate the recorders for purposes of defense.
Got it. Okay. Then with all of the locked doors it has connection to, are any of them listed as like quarantine or don't open, bad things will happen,
No.
or any
Mm-mm.
warnings? No? Okay.
No, nothing like that. The facility appears to be operating at as optimal at optimal proficiency that it can, given the power levels.
Got it. Okay. Then he's going to just unlock the doors that are currently locked. That way, when we approach him, we should be able to get in,
Sure.
possibly.
Okay.
So he'll do that. Then he'll unplug again, and he goes, "I've went ahead and submitted the commands to unlock all currently locked doors. There doesn't seem to be any hazardous material or beings, at least not that I could find within the security database here, but we should have access to effectively the entire facility, or have at least easier access. At this point, we should
Does that-
now
Does that mean it's going to be easier for us to get back out?
likely, but even still, it should be easy since we already have the means of actually moving through that larger doorway.
Cool.
So, Lightbringer, if you are able to at least partially lead us with your empathy towards the 3 individuals, we can follow the map that I've downloaded and see if we can find them post-haste.
Jerome, did I get a directional sense? for
No,
where
other
the
than it's on the
people are
floor.
coming from?
Other than it's on the somewhere on the floor below you. I mean, you could still occasionally reach out and use it as like a homing beacon. That's still a possibility.
Okay. The only thing that I can make out from here is that it's downstairs. So I'll try and get a read once we're down there, I guess.
And
Understood.
as a reminder, there was one individual that has been tied up and currently in a study situation and has been maintained as such for several hundred years. If you need me to repost that image, I can.
No.
What were you planning on doing with him?
I
I'm
mean, Derek
intrigued.
might need to see
Where
that.
where is can I tell which room according to the map that guy is in?
Yeah, 100%. That individual is actually in. He's the only person currently in room 14.
He's got a private suite.
Wow.
Not that sweet.
Sweet.
Okay, that's not
Yeah.
that far from us here.
Those little blue dots are those like 5 toilets?
Let's see if we can actually locate them. And he actually goes ahead and starts walking down that hallway towards the room 14.
Follows behind, scared.
Shaking his little space boots.
Mm.
Okay, I got it. It's not letting me scroll back real quick.
You scrolling your mouse sounds like a little frog.
It just sounds like a mouse to me.
Shows how much time Derek spends in nature.
Or
That
how
is for
much
you,
time
Derek.
I do not spend in
I
nature.
have seen this picture somewhere before. Maybe it was in a cyberpunk thing.
Oh, it definitely was a cyberpunk. I know where it came from, but I'm not saying it right now.
All right.
But that is ultimately what you see down the hall from you in one of the cameras that they have pointed out. An individual with tubing and probes going every which way. They have no body hair anymore. They are still alive, but they are registering no brain activity.
Right.
No,
Yes.
cognizant brain activity, I should say.
So headed that way to see if he's got anybody with him and see what's going on.
Sure.
Maybe there's a computer I can plug into there.
When you walk into that room, of course, everything here is very sterile-like in the sense that the metal floors, metal walls, light, but not really like warm lighting. It's just sufficient so you can see your way around.
Sure.
It does seem to, because the system is taking security measures to ensure the longevity of the power system here. As you walk, it seems to have motion sensors, so it only turns lights on as you move, and as you move
Got it.
away, it's turning lights off.
Got it. Okay, cool. Interesting.
But you walk into room 14. It is one of the primary laboratories that are here. You can tell just by the setup that this was probably specimens were brought into here for specific treatment or investigation or testing of some form. All the other tubes have the remains of skeletons in them.
Okay.
And even the skeletons at this point have a bleached sort of look in the liquid to them. They've been here that long. The one individual that's still in there is just kind of floating in this biological goop of whatever it is.
Okay. Looking at, are there any like computer readouts nearby or on
Mhm.
those tubes? That
Oh yeah,
explain things?
100%. It's still active.
Cool.
I mean, it was. I should say, it's still active, but the display, again, because of power saving, is
Yeah.
not on. When you approach, however, it turns on just like some of the lights.
Got it. Do that, and I take a look to see mainly what they were looking for specifically for this last guy, if anything, and see what they found. What's the report on him?
Okay, so you go over that. Why don't you give me a reason check? Do you have computers?
I do, yeah. Would that
It
give a
will
bonus?
bump your reason up 1 column shift.
Yes.
So go ahead and bump that up, and let's see what you get.
He
I'm
is a
surprised.
computer.
I'm surprised that Hyperion has computer skill.
I know, right? 51, yellow feet.
Okay. So as you're going over it, as he's sort of accessing the computer panel, despite the fact there are no devices nearby that would make this sound, between him and the interaction, it sounds almost like a combination of the binary access when modems would access through a cellular access would make the screeching and ping, as well as a bit of a hard drive sort of crunch as it's accessing information, like all kind of rolling together at one point. It's unclear if Hyperion is making that sound or if the system he's accessing is making that sound. But the information you pull up, it is what you thought when you first spotted this individual in the container. They were looking for genetic compatibility.
Okay.
And from what you can tell, you have to do some cross-referencing, of course, to what you understand ancient history to be as opposed to how they understand it. That's
Right.
clearly different. They're looking at it strictly from a very sterile, this is a Terran of blah 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 blah. I mean, even what they've encoded it with, like, it doesn't match like the type of tribe that you would have known it. It's way more
Okay.
cold and efficient, basically, to put it. Like they
Clinical.
yeah, clinical. They've dialed it down to complete just letters and numbers. Like
Okay.
it's just almost like complete binary. They never gave, which actually, now you think about it, kind of gives you a hint as to what they thought of many of the people on this planet. They really didn't bother with names for the race beyond Terran. It was just this type and coding, and there you went.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
But what you can tell is this individual, by all intents and purposes, looks like they were at like a 95% compatibility rate.
Is
Compatibility
this
of
individual?
what?
Yeah. So this is genetic compatibility, like with Dexamites.
That is correct.
Okay. All right.
So are these our precursors?
These were at least test subjects. This one here seemed to be one of the most promising ones, set a 95% compatibility rate with Dexamite genetic coding.
Minimal mutation if successful. Is this person still alive?
They're only being kept alive. Their brain patterns have actually ceased to function for some time, it looks like. Can actually tell like when that stopped as far as their thoughts go.
Oh yeah, 100%. Brainwave like you take it all. I mean, again, unfortunately, it's a lot of information to sift through. 'Cause it's still like actively drawing it, but
Okay, yeah.
thankfully, because it's done sort of like a wave graph, you can rapidly skip to certain points, because obviously it's just going to be flat line
Right.
up to a certain point. It's just you have to keep scrolling. You have to kind of keep swiping left and just
Yeah.
having it go like way back. But it looks like this person stopped any sort of appreciative brain activity sometime around the early 1900s.
Oh my! And he's from the 800s.
No, he's from before that.
Yeah, he's
850 AD is
yeah,
what
exactly. He was kept here
So-
for a significantly long time, but his actual brain activity that would allow for consciousness ended in the early 1900s. He was conscious for centuries, but he hasn't been for nearly a century.
Wow.
The Dexamites clearly did not care about beings that were of any degree lesser power than them. They weren't willing to understand their culture or their technology or even their language. They don't refer to them by their names or anything. They've given them their own designations. Seems to be how they treated many of the races back then.
Can you
I-
unhook him? Like,
I am not inclined to show a whole lot of empathic concern for other beings. I am still a bit off center for that. But under these circumstances, as intriguing as it may be, I also believe we should let his soul rest, I believe is how Earthlings would put it.
Perhaps we can see one last thing. Lightbringer, if you'd be able to use the med scanner on him to see if our technology can find anything else, to see if there's a way to revive him. If not, it would be cruel to leave him here in this state.
Derek, the appropriate term for you would be allow his song to be silent,
Oh, okay.
because you're in essence it translates the same way, but
Yeah.
for your people, the song obviously is everything, because communication, talking, conferring with one another. So in this case,
Our whale song is
yeah,
the closest thing. that we-
literally, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it would have been rephrased, and I feel very inclined to let his song rest. Let him be silenced at once, as a final act.
I'll go
This
ahead and
is-
pop the med scanner out
Okay.
of my watch and scan him.
Go ahead.
beep boop
Oh,
boop.
I have to roll for that.
Yep, make that roll.
Set your tricorder to stun.
That would be impressive if you could set a tricorder to stun.
Yeah, wow.
I know, right? Yeah. Wait.
Very aggressive scan.
I know.
I know.
Yeah, just. Why are my teeth rattling? My tricorder is set to stun. That's a pretty hard scan, bro.
That's what happens when you scan a red shirt.
I know. Yeah, just like.
Oh, no.
What are you
green.
doing? Oh, sorry. It only works on other than
So
your
Lightbringer.
Nice.
So you have taken a scan with your med scanner, and to your shock, he is in perfect health.
This might be malfunctioning. I don't think I've ever seen it show these results. She'll pass it over to Hyperion.
Yeah,
Sure.
so he takes a look and
Yeah,
Huh.
the scan appears to be accurate. I mean, it picked up, obviously, there's some scarring on the body and, probability of, like, bones that may have been damaged at some point in time that are now healed or whatnot. But this is probably the perfect, most healthy person you've ever laid eyes on, technically speaking.
Can the scanner tell if these life signs are being maintained by machines, or can it even detect that?
No, but you would know enough that because if that was the case, then certain organs wouldn't be functioning. You could tell because devices were connected to it that the impulse was going through it. So it looks like if you pull the plug, he's going to go on breathing. I mean, He'll just still be there.
Okay,
Wow.
fascinating.
Is it saying what I think it's saying?
He
Is
has
he human?
apparently been kept in perfect health here, but I don't
Is he human?
understand. Oh, I take it. Is he human? I take it he would be, but
Deviant.
deviant. Okay. He does possess the deviant mutation, but he is human.
Do you know of any way to resuscitate his brain activity?
Looking at the information on the for that the black site has, does it show anything regarding like why his brain activity went to 0, or if it could be restarted somehow?
This is what you're looking at is just the hard data.
Just the data. Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't have anything. It would be like looking at somebody's chart. You couldn't
Right.
really determine that by looking at somebody's chart unless like you knew whatever diseases the person had, so you could make educated guesses. It's really hard to say.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the data just shows he went on, and it just kind of slowly diminished until eventually not there.
Okay.
In my studies, I seem to recall, I wonder if it is a possibility that in times of dire stress, the human body is capable of almost shutting down their mental status to escape from their situation. I wonder if some sort of situation like this, or even possibly with his deviant gene, he has essentially put his mind in stasis.
Oh, maybe that was his deviant gene. Maybe he could leave his body. His mind could leave his body.
Interesting hypotheses. Looking at the, we can't tell what his power is, or can we tell what his power is from the information in the database?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
You
Could be an interesting
search
upgrade.
the computer database, which sits right across from the tubes, to see if the scientists logged anything. But the
Okay.
charts themselves, they're not going to say anything like that.
So then,
Hyperion, do you have access to this computer in here? Is there a cord?
let me see what I
would-
can find.
Would you be able to even download some of this information that we could end up translating? I could advance some of my studies exponentially with this information without having to do the more clinical and corrupt testing that they did.
So Hyperion then walks over to that computer desk, and he tries to see if he can access it.
Okay. So yeah, you approach. It is set up very similar. There is the access port that you can plug into.
Sweet.
It's got the matrix like
Check in.
mental stabby thing.
Yeah, right.
So you jack back in, and there's a bit of a sound in your ear, similar to that kind of ringing as you're going, as they ran through the phone in the Matrix. As you are connecting again to a very alien computer system that you're still trying to get adjusted to.
Right.
It's the mid 90s. It's
Whoa.
But as you step over to it, the screen lights up, starts processing. You can see it's going through its cycle at this point. It was actually off, but
Okay.
it's in the process of booting up, and within like 2 more seconds, it's kind of open and available with a prompt and a couple of side screens here for additional accessibility for pulling up notes or whatever have you.
Nice. Okay.
Hyperion, are you able to interface to where it would be able to display in English?
Let me see if I have the means to produce that translation for you. And he goes ahead and sees if he can actually do that, like change everything that's showing on the screen to English rather than Dexamite.
Give me a psyche check.
Oh boy. Guys, that's not very high. Just letting you know.
Would you like to use some karma?
That might be good. Yeah, that would be helpful for everybody. Where are we at? We still have the 500. We haven't used that up, and my psyche is good.
Oh
That
no.
means, yeah, exactly. See, it's what we're dealing with here. Which means
It's better than a poor. You're doing better than me. You're doing better than me.
And I'm right in the middle.
So to ensure a green, we need to spend 45. Is that cool by everybody?
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Cool. All right. So going to do that. Roll. GD.
And if he's successful in that, then we don't have to rely on Hyperion to be like, so it says this, you know.
All right. So pretty good. Yeah, that was worth it. Green feet.
Okay, so at this point, you start to see Hyperion's face twitch uncomfortably as his internal neural network is acting in essence as like a co-processor to this system, and it's slowly starting to change and update and format. The screens change size because the English language is not nearly as efficient as the Dexamite try-encoded characters that can display and mean different things. But eventually it changes. It's a little clunkier looking visually, and it is causing Hyperion a headache. But you have done it successfully.
There. That should do it. I should be able to continue with that as much as we need. Their means of communication is extremely efficient compared to most other languages I've sampled. Impressive. At any rate, let's see what we can find. So he goes ahead then and looks for what they were doing with this Cahokia man.
Okay, so you run down. Thankfully, since you're able to again start from one of the last contact points and keep backing up, it's easiest way to find that particular encode for the patient. They have, given, I'm just going to refer to him as the patient, but they've of course given him a standard designator code to indicate the patient.
Okay.
When you roll back through it, it looks like what they have discovered is that he, the one genetic perfection, as they refer to it, is that he would be given what is effectively called immortality.
Okay. So then
They gave to them. They gave to him.
No.
That
He
he already
had.
had.
that he has.
Yes.
Yeah, his power
Okay.
is immortality. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
So then would this be a degree of mortality where like he doesn't even need to like breathe or eat or anything like that and he still persists, or does he still need things to live?
They were actively stress testing that.
Wow, okay.
They put him in extreme temperatures, lack of food, lack of oxygen,
Has
they hypothesize, and it looks like they ran out of the capability technology wise to continue testing, which would probably line up with the collapse of the empire.
Yeah.
So they were stuck to keeping everything in house at that point, but they hypothesize that short of complete utter disintegration, he'll probably continue on.
Wow.
with and we see this also on screen now.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Can you access whether or not he has been nutritionally sustained for the last century?
Take a look. Has he had anything to eat or drink recently?
He has not.
Nothing. Okay.
Is there anything available? This could be it may be his body's way of conserving his mortality.
Either that or
Or
even his
getting drunk.
sanity.
Sanity, yes.
not being able to leave one spot for hundreds of years could damage the mind, regardless if they're superpowered. Interesting.
Jerome, would I have any food in my like med kit?
No. But why don't you give me an intuition check?
Intuition.
Nobody expects the intuition.
Green.
Green, green.
Okay.
Nice.
You do recall that you accidentally left some ham sandwiches in the quantum device from the last time that you had a picnic with Sledgehammer,
Nice.
Interesting.
which is actually an interesting mental note because now you're like, oh, I should probably watch what I packed this thing down with.
Are they refrigerated?
You don't know. You might want to pull them out to investigate.
They come out and they're either like moss or
I mean, it would have
perfectly
only have
preserved.
been a couple of days, but yeah, I will pop those out and smell them.
Yeah,
Hopefully they're not egg salad.
no. Oof.
egg salad's good.
I like egg salad.
So they smell the same. This would be the first time you've ever really put something that could possibly spoil into a quantum entanglement field. So inadvertently a science test? Or science experiment?
I have these that I kind of forgot about. They seem okay.
I don't see how we would administer the nutrition to him at this point, though.
Jerome, can I do like a telepathy check on him?
Sure.
And he would have come up in my empathy scan, right? But
If he was displaying any emotion, yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so I will attempt telepathy.
Be very gentle.
And that's a psyche, right?
Yes. 100%.
You're like,
Yellow.
dunk, 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 dunk. Hi.
Okay,
Do
so
not tap on the glass.
you make you reach out and make a connection, and you right now are having a River Tam moment where it's creepy because you're hearing the acute lack of sound. Like it's scary because it's like you're connected, and you would think like you would hear like random thoughts or memories or somebody rambling to themselves. You've connected, and there's nothing there, and it's very creepy.
Say mentally, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. All you hear is like an echo in your own mind.
Hello.
Dang.
Jerome, is he's in a tank, right?
Yes, he is.
Do we know what the fluid is that's in the tank?
You do not.
Is this some sort of amniotic fluid?
Take a look to see like what he's even in, what the stuff is.
Sure. You don't. It has a code and a designator, but you've never heard of it before.
Okay.
So like a chemical substance?
Yeah, but it is a chemical substance. Yes.
Is it something that I recognize biologically?
No.
Really? It seems probably more advanced than simple amniotic fluid. I am familiar with the alien biology of humans, and this is nothing that I have ever experienced in all of my studies across the universe.
it seems like there may be a chance that he could be revived. If there is a chance, let's at least explore that. See if we can find a way to remove him from the tube. And so I look at that through the system.
Okay.
Should we try and pick him up on our way out of the facility so that he doesn't have to come with us to rescue the others?
There seem to be two main pathways for that. If we wait until later, we could pick him up and then take off, but during that entire time, we would not have a living
Milo?
individual who's had some experience with this base. If we can actually restart his mind and communicate with him, if he remembers anything and is able to communicate with us, then that could be excellent information before we move further.
We may have to take into consideration, though, the mentality of someone from the 1800s or
800.
From
earlier?
850.
Oh, from 850.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. I mean,
It will
it's
clearly
from
be a
the 800s.
culture shock. And again,
was-
even if we can actually communicate with them, it's unlikely we speak their language and they speak any of ours.
Yes. He would be almost Neanderthalic.
Mm,
Maybe not quite to that extent, obviously, because he is a Homo sapien, but in mental and
Well-
social comparison,
But if
He
he
would-
still had brain activity up to 100 years ago,
he would have
Then
some recollection of
perhaps
this.
perhaps he would have had some sentience during that time.
True.
Observations of, I don't know if the test subjects are able to see what's happening outside of their tank, but it could be. In
Is
any
there-
case, maybe if we are able to revive him, maybe it will take him that long to be able to resuscitate.
Would there be a way, could you see in the system, Hyperion, is there available sustenance that can be administered?
Is there? Do
Like
they have
through
any
the tubes?
food or water or anything in this joint?
Actually, as you roll through the system, it says that there are 3 units available.
Okay. Does it show where those units are?
Yes, it actually shows that it is in the low. It is in the lower part of the facility.
Shows that on the screen. He's like, well, we'd have to go elsewhere for that sustenance. Perhaps then we should head there first to make sure we have that, unless we can find the others.
Well, my
It's-
ham
I think that would be the
sandwiches
best
seem okay.
way. I think that would be the best way to administer nutrition to him in a more neutral, non-advanced, preserved way.
Dale,
If
why
he
don't
is-
you give me another reason check with your computers?
With his body's experience,
White feet.
it would be
Suppose that's
easier
true.
on his biology.
Processed
rather than-
ham and Wonder Bread is probably not the easiest for him to handle.
However, he has been stress tested for an incredible amount of things. It's unlikely that preserved food would do him in at this point.
let's just get him
Wouldn't
out
that
of
be
the
a-
tank.
Wouldn't that be embarrassing?
I've survived for centuries, and I had a ham sandwich.
That's what
Death
did it.
by ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Just like Mama Cass. Sorry, kidding.
Jeez.
That's a joke from Austin Powers. So, anyways, So Dale, the one thing you would know as Hyperion is that the tubes that are connected to them, like they would just pump the food right into him.
Okay. Looking, so then yeah, he looks at that and goes, it is likely that the tubes that are connected to him are what's supplying him with food and water and possibly dealing with any of his body's waste products. So that may not be the issue. He may simply need stimulation or something else. But at any rate, there is a possibility that he can survive. I think we should at least remove him from the tube to see if he can sustain himself and see what happens, and then continue on from there. Any objections?
No.
No.
None.
All right. So he looks to see in the database how to remove him from the tube.
You'll have to flush the system, obviously, and then release the, or I should say, open the releases on the side of the casing so they can be physically opened up.
All right.
But totally within your power.
So he's like, Red Arsenal and Ixion, if you could stand next to the tube to make sure that he doesn't fall if he's not able to keep himself standing. I'm going to flush it and then open it.
Okay. Yep. Red Arsenal move over there, ready to catch the man.
I'd go ahead and do the procedure.
Okay. So
Proceed to flush.
there's some grinding of some gears here in a second as the system is operating now for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah.
And then eventually you start hearing some slurping sounds as the fluid begins draining from the tank, going someplace, who knows, probably to be reused or something. But eventually, I mean, he's still kind of supported by all the tubing and connections that are in there.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, it drains out the bottom, much like a drain that's been filtered out and whatnot, and he's just kind of left sitting in there, dripping a little bit.
Now, go ahead and open up the tube.
Okay.
Is he naked in there?
Is he what?
Is he naked?
Is he
Sorry,
naked?
that's a family joke.
Yeah. Is he naked? Yes.
Any special way to undo the tubing and stuff, or has the tubing been undone?
Hyperion can do that, but
Yeah.
yes, it does require system access to get that all released.
So yeah, he goes ahead and puts forward that command to get them all disconnected.
So you hear the slight hissing sounds as it's being disconnected. Everybody actually give me endurance checks.
Oh, is he smelly?
Well,
Possibly.
you tell me what kind of a funk could have built up in something like that.
Oh no.
He's gonna roll out of this like Mumra.
I'm good. I rolled a 47.
Oh, I got a red.
I got a red.
Nice.
Oh no.
Yellow feet.
No,
Green.
yours is a that
never
that
mind.
displayed
Mine's still
weird.
green.
Okay,
Yeah.
so because everybody was putting it at the same time. We're
Right.
just waiting on
I'm trying to
Shelley.
find it. Where is it on? Where's my endurance?
Endurance, it's in your main bank of abilities.
Yeah.
It's the
Next
E
to fighting,
of your
agility,
face.
strength, just to the on your first page, just to the right of
Primary
the
abilities.
Main
Fighting,
attributes.
agility, strength, endurance.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Sorry. It's the first thing that came to mind.
We're just. Oh, shoot! I forgot the command.
exclamation point, roll,
Thank you.
and then whatever your endurance code is.
Oh my God, I'm an
What is your
idiot.
what is your endurance?
I am an absolute idiot. I have Octavia's sheet out.
Yeah, that's the wrong game.
Good job.
Hold on. Yeah.
Good job. Wow.
That's not even the right night.
That's a first.
I'm all
Okay.
about the first.
Let's see. Can I roll dexterity? Let me see. Hold on. Let's roll.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
That would be
I can-
drugs and resist torture.
Roll
Nice.
roll DX, huh?
Yeah, nice try.
What
So Shelly,
happened?
you also know you're in the wrong chat to be rolling that, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, Cyberpunk. I got Cyberpunk on the brain, guys.
Wow.
I mean, it was a pretty exciting game.
Yeah. Yellow feet.
Okay.
It was a nice party.
All right. So Davey apparently is trying
Yeah.
to DX it up. Degeneration X.
Mm,
No. So at this point, everybody's like, just like
Yeah.
it's not a great smell. But
I got a red.
Dylan, however, Red Arsenal.
one of those
Um,
names.
Yeah.
I'm looking
He's
at
one
the
of
thing.
those.
It's yeah. So anyway, so
Right.
Red
Which-
Arsenal
Which game are you playing,
was
Jerome?
going to catch him, and just immediately retches like right on the side of the tank, because the smell is just so potent. The liquid or whatever it was, it just been in there maybe too long or who knows, but it is just terrible smelling.
Okay, he's funky.
I don't think it's his fault.
Yeah.
Can we,
Furthermore,
Unfortunately, Red Arsenal at this point is like effectively stunned and is just, dry heaving once he gets past the point that he can't really, his body can't give anything up. He's just.
That's lovely.
So Hyperion disconnects so he can walk over and pick up Red Arsenal and guide him away from the source of the stench, so that he can recover somewhere else in the room.
Oh, the stench is permeated all over the room.
It's everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Then I take him outside just so
Okay.
because he's puking his guts out.
Take him out in the hallway. Door kind of
Yeah, exactly.
opens and closes, and when it closes off, it's not like there's an opposing smell to this particular facility that would help drown that out, but not being around the tank gives you the opportunity to roll again.
Nice.
Does somebody have a water generation power?
No.
There we go.
You are muted somehow, Derek.
Now, must have been something with his headset when he was messing with it earlier on.
Oh, you probably unplugged it by accident.
It was the stench.
Mhm.
Probably.
It was that bad.
Uh,
Even the audio just said.
Sean, use your water powers.
What water powers?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You sound far away.
So because I'm using I'm using the microphone up here.
Got it.
how about now?
Much better.
Yep.
Okay,
It's better.
There we go. I just switched for that one just to make sure, and then I came back. So okay.
Yeah,
You're
you
still pretty
got.
quiet though.
You're still pretty quiet.
I got it.
Oh,
Okay.
That's wrong. Not me. Yeah. He has to reset too. I would just.
Okay. So.
Xena
But
freeze.
at this point, Red Arsenal, you're okay.
all right.
Yeah.
I guess he'll join the group back once he has control of himself.
Okay.
Yeah, Hyperion's making sure he's all right.
Yeah,
are you fine?
I'll be fine. Fine.
Do I have smelling salts in my first aid kit?
Yes.
I'm gonna try some smelling salts on the dude. So, ooh, okay. First aid.
I will be right back.
Okay.
I don't know, like what kind of skill does it take to just like take the lid off and like hold it under somebody's nose?
That
Do I need to roll to do that?
no,
Okay.
Roll your strength.
because the idea there is that you could potentially botch and cram him up his nose or something. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
so yeah,
I could
no,
I could spill them. I don't know.
Oh no.
Okay, well I'll go ahead and see if he responds to smelling salts.
Okay. no.
Okay. Good thing I didn't roll for that.
Okay. All right. So then going back in there and
Is he breathing?
His body functions are nominal.
Nominal. So,
it's keeping him alive, especially his
Yes.
immortality power.
okay.
So we don't really have to worry about him dying. But that does put him in a strange predicament unless we can revive his mind.
I'm
So
gonna
did the
take off
smelling
my
salts work?
jacket and kind of
No.
make it into like a pillow kind of thing.
Okay.
What about like a electric shock?
No.
Just a little one.
There is some data to suggest that that could produce some sort of result, but it would be very chaotic, and typically that's damaging to the brain.
Oh, then I got
I
nothing.
mean, his heart is still beating, so
That's what I said, just a little
typically-
one.
It was a good idea. I thought about it too. Okay. We just leave him here for now.
Is his body warm?
Maybe somebody should stay here in case he does wake up. I mean,
Red Arsenal.
Sure. I don't mind.
That was mostly a joke, but
Oh. Sure, I don't mind.
I was just thinking, if he wakes up and nobody's here, he could panic.
We could simply carry him with. I can actually take him, and he goes ahead and just like kind of carries him the typical way.
Can we find something to cover him with?
you can use my jacket.
Thank you,
If it is not cold in here, I do not see what the problem is.
Modesty.
Yeah.
Goes ahead and
Especially for me.
go ahead and takes Lightbringer's jacket if she offers it, and uses that to cover him up at least a little bit.
I still do not understand the human modesty aspect.
I've just gotten used to it, I guess.
Well, now that we have him, let us continue, see what we can find.
Agreed.
It's going
So how
out.
do we get downstairs?
There seem to be locations that may actually act as passageways between both floors. So Hyperion heads back the other way that we were coming from room 3 to where that little circular doodad is in that hallway. If you know what I'm talking about, Jerome.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Directly across from room 6.
Yeah, exactly. Is that a door that leads into some sort of elevator?
Yes, it is.
Sweet. All right.
Oh.
You walk up to the doorway.
Huh.
That's pretty much what it does.
Sweet. Yeah. Go in so we can head down.
Okay.
Are there any other like buttons, or is it just this floor and that floor.
That's your only options.
Only
Yep.
options. All right.
So if it's up, it's going to take you down.
Yep.
If it's
There's
already
no
down, it's going
13th
to take
floor
you.
in here. There's no 13th floor. They must be superstitious.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder where humanity got it from.
So then, does that pop us out in room 26, or is that something else?
Yes, actually it does. It just takes
Okay,
you.
cool. Nice. Okay. What's in this room?
So 26 is very similar to 3. It's a standard security room, a little bit bigger, obviously, where it looks like they might have some additional equipment that runs along the south walls that operates as kind of like a workstation as well. There is a bench, or not a bench, but like a what would have been potentially a check-in down here as well. Just a seat in a computer bay.
Okay.
Obviously, there are hallways here, and there's stairs that kind of go down into another part of the lower facility. Pardon me.
So then he turns to Lightbringer and goes, "Do you believe it would be in this section, or should we head down the stairs as far as finding the living hostages?"
Jerome, I will do an empathy check.
Okay. Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Empathy.
Yellow.
All right. So you do pick up a direction.
Which direction is it?
It is actually in 33 and 34.
Also,
Oh, we're right next to it.
next to us.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right. So
I
well,
will lead the way.
sweet.
Okay, so you
Follow.
walk. The doors are obviously still secure. You're going to have to actually manually open them. These are, they're clearly marked. It's in a language you don't understand. Of course, if you can understand Dexamite, you can read it. It's the best way to say it is it's secure chamber 1, secure chamber 2. Which is probably their terminology for like holding cell or maybe prison or something.
Okay.
But that seems to be the tense that you're picking up from it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, as we approach, he's like, "Secure chamber 1 and secure chamber 2. They were holding individuals in these rooms. This is where you're sensing them.
Exactly.
Let's head inside." And so Hyperion hands Cahokia Man over to he'll hand him to like Xenofreeze, and then he'll go ahead and open up that door.
Okay. So go ahead and you're gonna have to actually because you can't connect to it like you did with the other one, so you're gonna have to find a way to pop it open and to do this manually.
Okay.
The door?
Yep.
Can we zap it?
You could certainly try.
I'll zap it if he can't figure it out.
Can Hyperion find anything in this room or fabricate something in this room that could act like a crowbar or a lever?
I'll hand Hyperion one of my arrows.
I'm not sure this will have the. Perhaps if I could grab a few of your arrows as a bundle. Oh, thank you.
He'll grab give him more.
So he takes that bundle to see if that's enough to shove it into like the side of the door to try to pry it at least a little bit.
You mean his arrows?
Yeah.
Trying to
No. Okay. Yeah. So he does that.
Considering
And then,
you know this is the metal down here is Dravixium. Yeah, that's
right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dig roll.
That's less than a toothpick by comparison.
So he hands that back.
Sorry.
Perhaps a bobby pin.
So
Yeah, a Drivix.
So you're obviously not going to be able to, like, physically pry it off. You're going to have to actually find something to access, in essence, a bolt or screw, and manually do it that way to remove the panel.
Okay. Hyperion does have his what did I call that? His tech tool set with him for when he was doing things. Can he use any of the tools in that to try to open that up and
It's not an exact fit, but absolutely.
Sweet. Okay.
So at this point, just give me an agility check.
Oh boy. Okay. Hey guys. Yeah, agility, same thing like with Psyche.
Do you
Yeah,
go ahead.
Karma.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Can I?
You are the karma chameleon.
Hyperion, if
Yeah.
I may. I wish to try something.
Oh, it's
Alright.
gonna morph into a sweet
I go up and with my nanotech see if I can manipulate my body enough to where I match it perfectly and unscrew it.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
I won't even have you roll for that. That's not terribly hard as far as like the dimensions are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you?
Nanotech, yeah.
Yep. Why don't you go ahead and roll an endurance check at a -7 column shift?
Ooh.
Oh.
At a -7, so I still have a chance.
So you're saying I have a chance?
Yeah.
You can spend
Yeah,
karma
you
as well.
still have a chance.
Well, at -7
Should he, though?
still puts me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm at a poor. I have a monstrous endurance. So, and if I was at poor, I would still need a 56.
Yeah.
So, do we want to spend 55?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for
I'm
it.
good.
Sure.
So roll PR, and then I just do a plus
55.
Plus 55. Yeah.
Yep.
109. Yeah, I'm like,
So here's what happens.
Yeah.
So as he effectively sticks what would be his finger onto it, and you see it adjust to what would probably be the appropriate socket or edge to start tooling around. He starts like doing this. So like with each turn, you're giving yourself 2 points of damage.
Oh my god.
Because what's happening is you're not nearly as strong as the textile that you're trying to turn. So you're like snap, snap, snap. Ow, 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 ow. It's basically like you're taking, in real life, it would be like taking your fingernail and trying to
splitting.
loosen a really tight flathead.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
So owie, yeah.
Okay.
Normally you have a really good endurance, so it's stinging, right? It's like, but he's starting to make progress, right? It's starting to come, and eventually it stops getting to the point where it's actually breaking. He's actually starting to get it to turn, and eventually you start seeing, his finger just kind of spinning and rotating in place, and it's starting to finally come off. And right as he gets it off, 50 points of damage as he gets zapped. And you literally see like all the nanites like jolt around him.
Oh, shoot. Does
But
that at
you
least
have
throw him
access.
away? Okay.
So what would that be? About 60 points total?
Yeah.
Say. Oh,
Are you okay?
that hurt.
Now
That hurt.
we're aware of that security feature. From now on, I'll attempt to remove panels so that you don't have to injure yourself.
Ah.
Yeah.
Out of character. That's about half my hit points in one fell swoop.
Right. Was that Brittany?
I don't remember. It was not important.
The electricity affects me a bit more now with the nanites.
Yes. Understandably.
Oh. Oh,
Well then, let's see what we
probably
can
like
do.
my body's like rippling or something like that. Still
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to like.
Yeah, you kind of looked like a waveform, like when you see audio in electronic form. Like for a moment, you looked kind of like that as the electricity coursed through you. Just
The ripples were in the AC wavelength.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
Are you going to be okay?
I will be fine. I am just not at full physical capacity at this moment. I will need
Hey.
to heal.
Not doing that again.
And who has Immortal Man?
Oh, yeah. You probably put him down before you did that.
Well, right.
Yeah, because it definitely wasn't Xenofreeze if he was doing that.
Yeah. Probably would have.
I
I would have
probably
just
set
taken
him
it
down
back. Or yeah. Okay, that works.
No problem. So you have access to the panel at this point.
All right. So Hyperion's going to look at that, see if he can use it to open up the door.
You sure can. Go ahead and give me a reason check, -1 column shifts.
Okay. Could I
Better than
cancel-
-7.
Yeah. Could I cancel out that -1 using repair tinkering or mechanical
not-
engineering?
Unfortunately, no, not right now. You're still unused to working on this level of tech.
All right, so that makes sense.
Given your big brain, however, that will obviously change soon, but currently not right now.
Big brain.
All right, 84 yellow feet.
Nice. Okay. So it takes you it takes a good 30 minutes to try and do it right, so you're not like just physically ripping something out and messing it up, but effectively you hotwire it once you figure out how the wiring and circuitry on the inside is designed. And just a little tap with on the right circuit with the right wire, and then it just slides open, easy peasy.
Excellent. Take a look inside.
All right, so you see that there are 3 people. They are currently like shackled up, and they are in tube devices that are in this room. It looks like this room probably could have held a total of 6 people,
Okay.
1 per tube. If this room is anything like the other one, then probably 6 more in there.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see here. So then Hyperion's like, all right, we need to use the med scanner on each of them. I'll see if I can connect to look at their actual status according to the Dexamite computer system.
On it. So I'll start scanning.
Okay. So go ahead and roll.
Do you want me to roll 3 times or just
No,
once?
just one. We can kind of speed it up.
That is a white beat.
Well,
She's like, stupid thing's not working. Very
so
well.
you're
I
scanning
think
them.
I'll recalibrate it.
Okay, Garrus. Why don't you take about 15 minutes and recalibrate?
Okay.
Hyperion, as you're looking around
Yeah.
the room, not only is this a holding cell, obviously for individuals, but the tubes themselves also appear to have connections similar to the ones that were found in the science lab you guys just came from.
that patient number 1 was in.
Correct.
Okay. Like feeding tubes and whatnot.
Not quite the same.
Okay. Okay.
Is it full of goo?
It is not.
Oh.
So then I take it there would be like a terminal I could access, or
There is,
just
yes.
no?
Mhm.
Okay. So he's
It's much smaller. It's just basically tied to this particular room. But
Okay.
yes.
yeah. So he's gonna connect to that and see what the deal is with these tubes and these people and all that.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a reason check?
All right.
Up 1 for computers.
Nice. Ah,
Nice.
white feet. God,
Oh no!
by the
Maybe
way,
you should also recalibrate.
yeah. Anybody else need re-rolls?
Oh, you know, I might.
'Cause
I have
realized
a
don't have
reroll.
any.
I have one also. I could give you one.
Could give you one.
If I could get one, that'd be nice. Yeah, because I have 0 right now for Hyperion.
There
There
you
you go.
go.
Loot.
Okay.
Okay.
Has it been 15 minutes?
Yes, and there's a re-roll for hip.
Woohoo!
Come in, you royal
I'll
boob.
re-roll that.
And Davy Jones just called you a royal boob.
Yellow.
Okay, so Hyperion. You were probably expecting more from the panel. It's probably what it was. You connected at this point. There's really only there's very few features with this particular panel. It's either connection, release, or feed.
Okay. Okay, and those tubes apparently aren't feeding tubes then? They're the more like connection, like to keep them in place?
No, they actually are not. But they do seem to serve a purpose similar to what you saw upstairs. Can't really make heads or tails as to what it is, but there are no feeding tubes in here, as far as you can tell.
Okay. And the database isn't saying what those connecting cords or whatever.
No,
are
this is
doing?
just a base computer cell that allows you to give simple commands from here. If you're
Okay.
going to look up something more like that, remember you guys did skip past the other security console that was in the other room. You could check that one.
Okay. Then yeah, he's going to look to the group and be like, I'm going to check the other computer in the next room to see if I have more information about what happened to them. He goes ahead and leaves and heads to that other computer terminal.
You walk back there, give a simple plug in real quick. I'm not going to make you make a roll. You're starting to get used to some of the basic prompts. So same thing. It has a contingency, obviously, like you saw on the panel there. It also has a login of people who've checked in or serviced, this particular desk. Very similar. No one's been here in eons. But the other, what you get the one thing it's able to monitor from here is the feeding apparatus. And you see that the feeding apparatus is tied from these cells to the science lab upstairs.
Okay. That's not great. So yeah, just gonna delve into that more and see if these people were being used as food for the people upstairs.
You can confirm it was 100%. There is a saline liquid that will liquefy them and turn them into a gray paste, which is then pumped into the high priority high priority experiments on the first floor.
So those experiments that they have no more use for, they just use as food for the more recent experiments, more or less?
That is correct.
Okay. Awesome.
So there are 3 food sources down here, and coincidentally, we have 3 people that we are seeking to rescue down here.
That is correct.
And there were 3 units of food.
Yeah.
Can I use the med scanner now?
Go ahead and roll, Lightbringer.
I got a yellow.
Okay.
Huh.
They're all unconscious, but obviously in some degree of distress, and they are all suffering from malnutrition at this point.
Do we recognize any of them as the people that were missing?
Yes, all 3 of them.
Okay, so it was fairly recently that they were taken.
Yeah, correct. And there are other bodies down here from that are more recent that are in these tubes that they've just died, so they're in various stages of decay.
And they're also naked, I would assume.
No.
Oh, they're not.
Nope.
Okay.
We just came in and slapped him in there. A little bit of garnish for the food.
Little extra fiber.
Literally.
Polyester.
Okay.
Mhm. It's good stuff.
I'm going to attempt to reach one of them telepathically.
Go ahead.
Telepathy.
Yeah, that I forgot.
You got to use your psyche.
That's a white. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, so at the revelation of what these people were really here for is probably kind of just destroyed your calm, and you're a little anxious, and it's hard to
A little,
focus.
a little shaken.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
justifiably so. It's pretty horrific.
So then, gonna
Fish
go
are friends,
ahead
not
and is there a way to from the terminal out in this room to like open them up and free them, or do I have to do that from the terminals?
Oh,
in
no,
front
no,
of the
you
room?
could do it from either.
All right. So then he's gonna call out and be like, "I'm going to deactivate the tubes. There's no more reason for them to be there. Are you ready to grab them?"
Ready.
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 Goes ahead and sets them free.
Okay, so it unlocks. Very similar. You know, the door automatically opens, and it releases the shackles. Of course, they immediately fall to the ground. They are in dire need of food and water, and dangerously close to dying if they don't get any more.
I will attempt to perform first aid. I mean, I guess there's not a lot. Do I have water in my first aid kit?
Not enough to solve the problem.
Maybe I can zap him out of here.
I wonder if you can. Earlier, you felt a strange feeling. Are you still feeling that?
Oh yeah, Jerome, am I still feeling that?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
feeling it.
Then I guess
I
let's
would not
just take
attempt it.
him, back upstairs to the ship and get out of here.
I can, though it would. Do we? So can you generate heat, Red Arsenal?
I cannot. No.
I have ultraviolet control. I can melt ice.
I would actually. The ice that I would form would be pure water. If you melted it, then I could theoretically provide an indefinite supply of water.
You could try it. Is there
Xenofreeze, roll your reason.
Oh,
They're also going to need nutrition. They've been here for 5 days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've got ham sandwiches.
You have exactly 3 ham sandwiches.
Bing!
Okay. Keep in mind there's no ambient water around, so the only ice that you'd be able to form comes directly from the oxygen, which is totally possible. However, given where you're at and the fact that this is a sealed facility, you would be taken away from the oxygen source. So it's not unlimited.
No air. No air. No air.
But
Doesn't
in the
bother me.
in the
Doesn't
short
bother
term-
me any,
In the short term, you absolutely can do
Hyperion.
that, yes.
or Hyperion for that matter.
Correct.
Right.
I mean, yeah, if you want to just take all the oxygen, go for it, man. Totally cool with it.
I'd rather you not do that.
So we get some.
Is there something that we can? Is there a vessel that we could use to collect some water in?
We get
Presumably,
them-
yeah. I mean, they would still
Okay.
have containers and whatnot. Yeah. you
Okay,
could
so
do
then
that.
I gather enough to, and then
So we provide food and water for them, but then they run out of air.
Pretty much.
well, they have to be conscious to eat your food though.
Well, I'm just noting that it's not unlimited water is why
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's
Right.
all.
Yeah.
It's
there
not
should be
like a
enough
couple
for-
uses of his power is going to cause everybody to start gasping.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
See what we can do for them here to see if that's enough to at least stabilize them. If not, then at least some of us will have to head back to the ship and take them back into the city.
How long
for
have they been
assistance.
missing?
5 days.
days.
They will need food and water, especially water now.
Note to self: put some rations in my med kit.
Oh, jeez. Let's see here.
Oh, like the runner's paste? Yeah, that would be good.
Are we willing to generate that water and feed them the leftover sandwiches?
If they
That's all
become
we have.
conscious, we wouldn't be able to feed them if they weren't conscious, though.
We can
Being
see
salted.
about waking them. Lightbringer, you still have the smelling salts, correct?
Yes. Can I go ahead and use those?
Wave them around. These people wake up with that, but not that they're super active. I mean, they're just kind of gasping and unable to support themselves and looking
Are there-
very terrible.
Are there
Dried
any,
lips and everything?
Chairs or something we could sit them down in?
Of course.
or- Okay, let's. I'm gonna start moving them to like chairs to get them
Sure.
somewhat comfortable.
Okay. They are not in a position to even hold a glass at this point, so you're going to have to actually like manually give them a glass. You have enough to give each of them a glass of water.
Okay.
It's not a lot, but it's better than absolutely zero.
Right. Okay. And then let's maintain scans on them to make sure that their bodies are taking the nutrition properly, that they're stabilizing at least somewhat before we continue.
I'll pass out the sandwiches. They probably can't hold them themselves, so
No, they can't.
each of us is going to have to.
So you've got two
Do
two
that.
sandwiches. You can obviously
Okay.
cut them up
We'll
into
cut them up.
halves, and there's 3 people,
Nerds.
so one person's probably going to get one
Well,
extra.
we'll cut them into quarters, and then everybody can have 3/4.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that works. Sweet.
Or whatever.
Sure.
So we're so we're feeding them and
One person would still be short
hydrating them. Right.
Could cut them into thirds, and everyone would get 2/3.
Whatever. You know what I meant.
What about 1/16?
Okay, you know what?
So, somebody quickly.
Shoving food in their mouth at
I was
this
going to
point.
say somebody just quickly throws Red Arsenal back in the science lab and shuts the door.
You are food now.
Let's see if he fits in one of these tubes.
Hey guys!
Watch him regenerate from this.
I'm dissolving, guys.
Guys, help!
He might be a permanent food source if he keeps regenerating.
Oh no!
How many sandwiches does that make?
It doesn't make sandwiches. It just makes alien Vegemite.
Oh,
And make me a Vegemite.
Sandwich.
Make me a Dexamite sandwich. All right.
so does that helping them kind of rouse them at all?
I mean, it's not enough to help them get up and about or whatnot, but the vital
That's
signs
good.
wise, yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Okay. All right. Then at that point, Hyperion looks to each of them. Do they look like they're cognizant, like they can understand things, or are they just like super
Barely.
out of
Yeah,
it? Okay.
they're still super out of it, but I mean enough to know that you guys are there and you're trying to help.
Okay. Yeah. And so he will like kneel down to the 3 of them and be like, "We're the legacy. We're trying to help you. We're going to get you to safety where you can get food, water, and medical attention. It will take some time, but you're stable for now." He stands back up and he looks at them and says, "At this point, we should at least take these individuals and Cahokia Man into the vessel and see if that can be returned and take them to the nearby hospital. Meanwhile, at least I should be here to investigate the rest of the facility. Who's willing to go with the individuals to return them to Strongford?"
I will.
I would love to stay and see some of the science tech if that is possible. This
I-
area would be a wonderful, wonderful asset.
Definitely. Who all here knows how to pilot Ixion's vessel?
No.
Uh, I could probably figure it out after
Well,
watching you guys.
wouldn't they already? Haven't we
Lightbringer
established?
kind of hijacked it at one point, if I recall.
Yeah.
So she
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
That's
she
I
right.
already
did.
does
Oh, yeah.
have some working
I
knowledge.
can do that. I
Are
can
you
do
all-
that.
Teach
Or
me
if
how to
Helios can
bro.
drive. Could Helios drive?
Well, once we're out of
No,
the
Helios cannot.
facility, he doesn't have a license.
True.
That's not what
And
I
he would
meant.
be the first to remind all of you about that.
Yeah. Then
I am not-
Lightbringer.
Oh, can we make contact with Helios in here?
I'm sorry, we can barely hear you, Davey. Can you?
Can we make contact with Helios?
I don't think we
Way
can.
better.
We tried that before.
Yes,
Okay.
you cannot.
Darn. All right.
Then Lightbringer, would you be willing to then take these individuals back to Ixion's ship, and you pilot it back to Strongford to explain the situation and give them to the authorities?
Yes, and then we'll return as soon as we can.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, you're gone. Meanwhile, I'll be here looking at the rest of the facility. I'm not sure how long we'll have to actually examine the facility once we let the public know it exists.
I do not know if we should relinquish him to the current authorities.
Cahokia man.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well,
Maybe we can take him to Miss McCall.
Or I was thinking, remember when Shield was injured and he was in a private facility?
At Alpine Technologies.
Right, maybe we should take Cahokia Man there.
If you'd be willing to take him there after you deliver the other individuals, they're the ones who are in danger. Cahokia man, ironically, is technically in no danger at the moment. We have time with him. So your first stop will be to deliver the 3 victims so that they can receive assistance, and then head to Alpine Technologies, where we took Joe Higgins before, to see if they can help Cahokia man.
Or at least keep him safe until we can figure out some other solution.
Once that's done, make sure to return here, because the ship is our means of actually exiting this facility.
Of course.
Let's take these individuals back to the ship. Goes ahead and starts picking up people, helping them, so that we can all gather them and put them in the ship.
Yep. I'm not going to make you guys role play through all that. We can. I mean, it's a matter. You guys know exactly where you're going.
Yeah.
Heading back. And of course, Lightbringer takes the ship, and you are off. The rest of you are staying at the facility then.
Yep.
Okay.
At least Hyperion is. Yeah. If anybody else wants to
I
go
am.
with her, that's fine.
No, I want to stay.
Yeah,
Sean-
no, Sean's going with her.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I
So
thought.
the girls are on the
Yep.
rescue team. The guys are staying in the facility to explore. That works.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So those of you who are at the facility, so obviously you get back down onto the floor that you had left everybody at, and Hyperion, you are jacked back into the main system.
Mhm.
Now, now that you've gotten a chance to look at it, rooms 31, 32, 33, and 34 on the map,
Mhm.
those were all for essentially holding cells.
Okay. Those are the feeding rooms or whatever to feed
and
the.
based on what you can tell, it looks like that's probably where they held people, subjects initially, while they were determining, did they need to cycle them upstairs, or are they, appropriate for feeding?
Okay. And only the best ones got to go upstairs.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
That they could determine had some sort of genetic quality that they needed to study closer.
Okay.
Also, give me a reason check as you're kind of going over downstairs,
Okay.
to see what you got. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Let's go.
Red
Red
feet.
Beach.
There we Ah, dang it. Okay, so you have got a breakdown of everything that's on that side of the map. So 28, 29, all the 29s, 30, B and A. Those are all facilities directly related to support, primarily for the security. So all 29s, those are all like closets that would have been utilized for their own resources. Apparently, from what you can tell, that would have been their food, but they had isolated their own food source down to like a protein paste. It doesn't apparently seem to be tied to what was being fed to the science. The science, obviously they got better, but that's where that was stored.
Okay.
So 28 was basically the where basically like the requisition officer would have hung out. And you go there for resupply and whatnot. 27 is where equipment would have been kept. And this is equipment essentially for most of the facilities, just odds and ends.
Okay.
So if you needed parts for a chair, parts for a system, most of it was non-essential, but it looks like that's what that was. So 30A and B, that's where essentially the officer would have stayed.
Okay.
As his office, essentially. Those fell into disuse as obviously all the decks might started dying off and whatnot as they started rationing. You did find an interesting note in the system on 26, however. If you could give me a reason check at a 2-column shift down.
Okay.
Spend karma, please.
It's remarkable. What are we willing to spend, folks? We're now at 400 karma.
Spend what you need to.
Yep.
Okay. Well, what if I guaranteed a yellow, which would require 65?
Excellent.
Done.
Okay, that's what I'll roll.
Sold.
Roll.
I tell you, we are twins.
Wonder Twin powers activate.
Activate.
They're all like this, like
Wonder Cow powers lactivate.
activate.
Red feet at 132.
Wow.
Makes it-
Okay, so Hyperion. The
I
reason
just
why
said
it's
that meme like where he's like, it goes to the progressive things where the brain has like lightning and like.
So Hyperion, the reason why this stood out, it had to do with all the biological testing that you guys were doing early on as you were trying to determine when you guys remember, like I think it was like way back towards the end of season 1 when Derek was first starting to do the testing, getting everybody's genome and
Right.
trying to isolate certain strains and whatnot. Well, you recall that and look at it, and you and it is a correlation to Salanth. And when you basically expand it further and look at it, it looks like they used the Salanth genetic structure to create the liquid to liquefy the people to feed it to the science lab upstairs.
Wow.
Now, there's no direct, like, it doesn't say it specifically like how they did it. It was basically like a note that talked about, like how they were running out sort of thing and to try to look for, equivalent so they could keep using it. And that's when there's a note there that basically someone came up with the ability to reuse it. Basically to recycle the properties.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why it smells so bad.
Okay.
But they clearly didn't mind because it still gave the desired results for the test subjects.
So then,
Do I see this now too?
No, not yet.
so then, would that mean that they actually like sacrificed Salanth individuals to like make this liquid stuff, or would they have
Or
done something else?
obtained some, yes, at
Okay.
some point. Like it like they were perhaps I mean, again, it's a footnote in somebody's science log, so it's
Yeah.
hard to say. But clearly, Salanth factored into their
Okay.
science experiments as well.
Yeah. Okay. So he's looking at that. He doesn't mention that yet. So he's gonna hold on to that little tidbit there, but
Sure.
then okay, so then 30 in the officers' quarters, like 30A and B and whatnot. Was there any like special information the officer had left behind or anything like that?
So
No.
offhand, I have to say this now
particularly.
because even though it does seem, and this is like Scout's honor, not out of character knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm not utilizing this because I was thinking before we left, I wanted to see about gaining a sample of that fluid to study
okay.
it, to see because of how it was preserved. I honestly wanted to, and we slipped into something else, or when we were
Yeah.
releasing him or going to the other room, and I forgot to mention it. I do want to do that. So
before you go, you can obviously do that.
okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna make a note that I gain a sample of that. But this, I just want you to know it wasn't using this out of character knowledge
Sure.
to do that, because if it comes back theoretically, like in my mind now, using out of character knowledge in foresight,
No, right.
if it comes back and it's just like, that's my cousin, I could
Jimmy?
be like, oh, yeah, exactly. So I don't want to have that misconstrued. So I
Quick,
will.
use the smelling salts.
And all of a sudden the goo comes back to life. Yeah.
He's alive.
I don't know if you'd want that coming back to life.
No, yeah,
No.
probably not.
Zombie goo.
Yeah. But
Okay, cool. Okay, so then nothing.
It's not
further.
really Jimmy.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Double tap.
The
It doesn't work
the-
with a Salanth.
the equipment room in number 27, was there any like viable equipment or technology to look through there?
Not much anymore. I mean,
Okay.
it looks like they I mean, again, they were running off of fumes by the time that everybody else passed away. So everything had been super recycled and replaced and recycled more and whatnot. So almost all of their supplies were completely exhausted.
Got it. Okay. All right. So then if that's all we find in this area, then we could probably head downstairs toward that room 23 in the lower level.
Sure.
Hey, Hyperion.
Yes.
Do they have anything on the Alinar?
That I haven't looked at, but none of the individuals here have shown any Eleanor distinction. If I find anything regarding that species, of course, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I would like to see what information they have on the Salanths also.
They do have some information on the Salanth. Do you want to hear it now, or would you like to wait until we leave to hear that information?
Why do you state it like that, brother?
Imagine what we've seen so far in this facility. Did the Dexamites back then care at all about the well-being or the individuality or personality or even consciousness, really, of other beings other than themselves?
I see where you're going with this. I want to know.
The fluid that was being used, they were using Salanth genetics in order to construct that to help dissolve individuals for nutritional needs of the other individuals. It's unclear if they sacrificed individuals to accomplish that, but I wouldn't put it past them at this point.
I see. It's hard to say that, being the longevity of this, I seriously doubt that if it were in fact a Salanth in actuality, that it would be anyone that I would know.
And at this point, the Salanth material would be homogeneous. They would definitely not have maintained their personality like what you can. They would be effectively destroyed, simply used as the dissolving agent.
Correct. I understand that my biology is much different than the humans, and I can see some correlation that way, scientifically. Yet, quite disturbing.
They did everything they could. Seems like they were running out of time and or materials. I'm still not quite sure what it was that was defeating them. There hasn't been any clue as to what that was, other than them actually looking through the genetics of these individuals. They were trying to find that compatibility.
In that information for the slides, does it show where they acquired the samples from? Was it from Zenri, or was it from a potential satellite colony?
Did any of that show up, Jerome?
Oh, like I said, it was just a journal note that somebody made. It wasn't like an actual report or something.
Okay. Unfortunately, the details are sparse. They didn't create a full report on how they actually used or obtained the substance, only that they realized that it could be repurposed for their uses here. Sorry, I don't have more information for you. Again, it seems that they have scrubbed much of the more damning information.
It will be intriguing to study some of these fluids.
With that, let's continue, see what we can find.
Absolutely.
So headed down to room 23.
Okay, so when you get down the stairs, go to room 23. This is the lower level to the docking bay.
Right.
So you can tell, like, that square there in the middle, that is a full hydraulic system that goes up and down that would, bring things, lower, or bring them up.
Got it.
This is also the bay in which the recorders are at. And you can see at one point in time there were stations for 10 of them.
Okay.
There's only 2 in here currently, which are, because since you deactivated them,
Yeah.
but they're in various stages of disrepair.
Okay.
So 23 was the recorder bay, if you will,
As well as parking for, any vehicles that might come down here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So then, are there any ports to plug into to learn more about the recorder's functions and all of that?
There is a there is again, there's another panel here. Just by looking at it, however, you can tell it's similar to the one that you saw in the holding cells. It's going to have limited functionality.
Okay.
You're likely going to have to find what passes as the command center for something like that.
Got it.
Unless you wanted to jack directly into one of the recorders, and that might not be safe.
Right. Yeah. He's still gonna use his penetration vision to kind of look into the recorders to kind of memorize what they look like, how they're assembled to a degree, but just
Sure.
to kind of hold on to that.
You would have 85% of a working physiology.
Cool.
Again, it's hard because parts are missing from some of them,
Right.
but
Okay.
enough to get a good idea of how they operate.
Nice. Okay. All right. So with that, let's see, 23. What are rooms 24 and 25? Can we tell?
24 and 25. Well, those, based upon what you can tell, those were rooms that they held parts for, so for maintenance purposes. So obviously replacement parts for the recorders, of which there were a few, and then replacement parts for ships. and it looks like that's almost completely exhausted, and that was 25.
Okay, gotcha.
Is there anything in there that that may be compatible with my ship?
Right now, you don't know. There are some parts in there, but so you'd have to take them back and potentially look at them with Hyperion. It's tech you clearly do not understand.
I wonder, with the advanced technology, that it may interface with my ship.
We can definitely bring samples back and see what we can determine about them. See if they interface or can allow us new understanding of Dexamite vehicles.
We could even utilize some of the nanite technology.
That's true. It could be repurposed in that way. Interesting. We'll come back to this room and gather that and bring it upstairs once we finished scouring the rest of this floor.
Absolutely.
So then let's continue on. So it looks like there would be like a staircase that goes down or just a hallway going to the right.
That is correct.
That staircase looks interesting with those thingies down there.
With the thingies.
The thingies. Let's do that. Let's go look at the thingies. Go into room 42.
So when you get to that room, you can tell by the warning signs that are down there, that's the power plant.
Ooh.
So that's, in essence, when you get down the first door, that's the control center, where techs would monitor increase, decrease power output or whatnot. And then the room past that, that's the power center.
Okay, gotcha.
I wonder, what type of fuel are they utilizing?
I thought it was nuclear.
It is nuclear. I wonder if they use uranium, plutonium, or some other means. The amount of power that they're gaining is significant, which tells me that the efficiency of these reactors is extremely impressive compared to current nuclear technology we possess. Maybe prudent to take a look and see what I can understand.
Yes, I am concerned, yet at the same time, I know that, well, out of all of us, you would be the least susceptible to exposure to radiation, and then myself accordingly. But it would also depend on the type of radiation.
Right. I'll take point. I'll head in first. If anything's happening to me, we can leave to avoid any further damage. Any damage I do sustain, I should be able to repair.
So what Red Arsenal is human?
Yes.
Okay.
And Alinar.
And
Dexamite.
And Dexamite, yeah. So you're a tri.
I'm a tri baby. Yeah.
I would suggest at this current juncture that you would stay in the control room.
Okay. I'll just press buttons. I'll be fine.
Only buttons I indicate you press. Don't press them randomly, please.
Okay.
Red.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. In we go. So go ahead and see if we can go into room 42. And Hyperion's just kind of looking around to see if he can, reverse engineer or understand the type of nuclear technology they're using.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a recent check, down one column shift.
That would be incredible. White feet. I am going to re-roll that. Yeah, use my re-roll for that.
Okay.
94 red feet.
Alrighty. Good job. So, you examine and look it over. So you have a working knowledge of how the system is operating at this point. The in layman's terms, it's using some sort of combination of splitting of an atom, nuclear power, but it's some of the fissionable material that's inside it you don't recognize.
Okay.
So it's possible that they've discovered some other material, maybe on another planet, someplace, or they had some sort of higher tech or
Okay.
higher science method of combining two other fissionable material to create something more. So hard to say, but yeah, that looks like that's where it's coming from, and it's potentially burning cleaner than what you would normally get from like uranium.
Okay. Wow. So can I tell that it's like it's not even a radioactive material? Or
It is a radioactive material.
It is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's
Okay.
just an alien material based on what you can see. Like the atomic weights don't match up.
Okay. All right.
Something much, much heavier than what the human periodic table goes to.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he finishes up that understanding, and he's like, well, it does still use fission nuclear technology, but the fuel they're using seems to be the key. It isn't plutonium or uranium, anything that we have access to. It's either a new metamaterial they created or something naturally occurring on another world. Still radioactive, but extraordinarily efficient and seems to burn and degenerate much cleaner, giving them the power they have. Fascinating.
It must have a significantly higher half-life then for it to even be sustained for this long.
Likely. All right. Let us continue then. So then heading back up and around.
Derek, you're going to need to pull your headset down so you're talking into it.
And
There we go.
so we get back to room 23 and then head down that hallway to the right for like rooms 35, 36, and so on.
At that point, that is the command wing. Area 38 is where the command center is actually at. 39 is like a backup security room used, for what would potentially be what few agents that they kept on hand that could hit that elevator and run upstairs quickly if necessary. 37 is where they kept what weaponry they had on hand. Obviously, those have all been cannibalized as well. 36 was like a ready room where people could go in and do whatever. Or as far get ready. 40, 41, A and B are all essentially barracks types.
Okay.
For and sleeping quarters for the staff.
Okay.
And so there you go.
Okay.
What was 35?
35 is it was in essence another storage closet.
Okay.
And nothing in there to like
Okay. Yeah.
take. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then looking through these areas, especially in the command area, is there anything to plug into? Any information laying around?
There is. This
Okay.
this area in here is particularly worn. Like it's obviously because they're trying to run the whole facility from here, but chairs in here look like they've been like they were on their last leg probably centuries ago, sort of thing. They're barely holding up.
Okay.
There's worn marks in the armrests.
Thank you, buddy.
There's stains and worn marks also on many of the consoles. Some of the keys are rubbed out, like very much like this is one of the areas that was used quite a bit, so nowhere near as clean looking or as magnificent as some of the other parts.
Okay.
Plugging into here, of course, just gives you access to the rest of the center. Gives you tells you like communications array that that they've got that's obviously completely offline. And updates for the recorder units that were there. That most of those are obviously offline as well.
Okay. And any like plans as far as what they were doing, or any indication as to like what spooked the Dexamites so bad to like abandon things or anything?
Give me a roll.
And a column shift up for computers.
Yes.
Okay. Bam.
And in fact, you actually see a skeleton kind of hunched over one of the consoles at this point.
Oh dang! It's got a white feet on that, unfortunately.
Okay.
There's a skeleton hunched over a console.
Yep.
Does it look significantly different than human?
No.
Interesting.
A Dexamite skeleton. Maybe?
I wish to take a sample.
Why
should.
don't you give me an agility check, Derek?
An agility check.
An agility check.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. Agility. White.
Okay. So you walk over to it and pull out something to try and put a sample in or whatnot. And as soon as you touch
It's
it,
like a knuckle bone or something like
well,
that.
as soon as you touch it, it just completely decomposes down to powder. Just
Oh.
One of those.
Collect some of the powder then.
yeah. You can still do that, but yeah, it completely loses all kinds of form and even hardness. It's just decomposes like that. So Hyperion, yeah, you're trying to go through the system. Obviously, there's a significantly more logs to sort through from here.
Okay. It's taking me a significant amount of time. If the rest of you want to actually explore some of the other parts of the base while I try to parse this data, I believe this would be important to have. Otherwise, we can stay here and wait for me to finish unscrabbling it.
Do we know what's up on 20 on the upper floor? The 20s and 21 and 22?
Nope, nobody's been up there yet.
All right, Red Arsenal's going to run up there. Or, well, not run up there, but take a tube up and
Sure.
Explore the 20s.
Okay.
All right. I will come with you. If you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
so
please.
you two
You
go
can
up there.
protect me.
Hyperion, go ahead and give it another roll.
Okay. Woot. 74 yellow feet.
All right. So now you're starting to, again, it was a sensory overload thing because of everything that was going on, and you're just taking all that information in. So obviously the commander here was keeping logs of what was of updates that they were going on. Most of the logs starting from when they stopped, and going back, they're sparse. They get a little bit more the further you go back, but obviously they all start mirroring the same thing. Have not heard from High Command, have not heard from High Command. It's been X amount of time, blah, 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 blah. As you keep going back, near as they can tell, it looks like there had been a rebellion in the Empire. Information was sparse, and outposts such as this, as the base commander here indicates, were kept out of the loop. So what remnants of the Empire were acting on the planet have all essentially gone to ground.
Okay.
Unclear of what the actual threat was, or the enemy, or what was causing it. Everybody, in essence, kind of buried their heads in the sand, and none of the individual groups that were here even communicated with one another.
Okay.
Whatever happened, it looks like the command here ended up waiting a good 30 years after whatever crisis had hit, when resources started getting perilously low. Then they started essentially paging command to see if they could get something, and they got nothing back. So realizing, and they weren't getting anything from any of the other agents around the planet either, because they didn't want to communicate or they didn't exist anymore. So you're getting the expressed idea that they went into isolationist protocol and realized that they may be the only ones left.
Okay.
They started attempting to adapt. Some of the commands here were to try and adapt to the local wildlife, as they put it, as a method of survival, as well as attempting to adapt, or I should say integration, which met with varying degrees of success. There are some notes here that indicate that some of the interactions that they had with others were perhaps deadly, because they were immune to certain viruses, whereas the Terrans, as they put it, were not, and unfortunately caused large tracts of population to be lost. There is one in specific that they interacted from here, that when you translate it down, you actually get the coordinates to where it was, and it was effectively the Roanoke colony.
Oh.
Of course, they don't refer to it as that, but when you get the coordinates, actually, like, and you start lining up the time frames,
Yeah.
they started interacting with colonists that tried to form that colony, and their interaction went poorly.
Smallpox,
Yeah, something
Black
basically
plague.
disease wise, they were incompatible. And but what they also realized is that some of them had not adapted to food sources on planet Earth, which also caused a problem for some of them.
Oh, no.
And so by the time they figured out what they could eat, what they could adapt to, and the scientists had figured something out, they were already too few to ultimately solve for the problem. So at that point, the commander stayed at the base to ultimately go down with the ship, and, with the hope that they would eventually hear back from high command, while the others went topside to attempt to integrate. And if one was more successful than the other, they would try to return to relink back up and essentially try to restart, and reestablish connections with high command. The recorders were set on a specific time loop to keep monitoring, for that specific reason, and eventually just time got the better of them.
Brittany
Okay.
has a wonderful theory. I'm 100% behind it, that in the future of our game here, in Wuhan province, they actually found a Dexamite stronghold, and that is the cause of COVID-19.
So you're saying the Dexamites are the problem for the Kung Flu?
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. I elaborated on Brittany's statements.
Right. They caused the plague.
Uh-huh.
So then seems like they were just at the point where they realized they were cut off from the rest of the Dexamite Empire for whatever reason that was. They were then just trying to survive on Earth, but they were incompatible with the food and whatnot that was here, and therefore tried to kind of merge or use genetic testing on the humans here to see what they could do to survive, more or less.
Yeah, it's unclear what was done here. It's clear that this guy isn't a scientist. He was the commander, so
Okay.
his knowledge of what would have happened is okay. Well, tech heads failed. sort of thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they were clearly trying something.
Okay. All right. Was that all the useful information I could grab from this spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Then he'll go ahead and disconnect and join the others upstairs.
Okay. So while they are exploring that, so Lightbringer and Shone, you guys fly back into town, getting, coming up on, hospital there in Strongford, to, drop these people off. Are you just going to drop down on their helipad, or like pull up right where a paramedic's ambulance might?
I think we.
With the ship.
I mean, we could go to the helipad and then Sean could teleport us down to the emergency bay.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Good with me.
Okay, so Sean, then you get near the three survivors and teleport down to the I'm not gonna make you roll for it because you can physically see the telepad when you were coming in.
Right.
Of course, security comes up, noting that there's something hovering above the hospital, which is setting off all kinds of alarms in the city because they've never seen this thing before. It's scary and it's alien, and they're probably coming to steal their bodies. But
in actuality, we're coming to give them bodies.
Correct. So with a little bit of heated discussion as to what exactly is going on, the security guards call down and, to some medics, we need doctors up here to get these guys back down and get them on gurneys, to let them know that the people are in critical condition, sort of thing. And probably within 15 minutes or so, they're able to get people up to the helipad and start getting these people down below.
So I would not explain exactly what happened to them or where they've been. Like, I won't give them any more information than they actually need. I'll just say, look, we're in the middle of an operation. These people have been held captive
superhero
without food and
stuff.
water.
By this point, the hospital is aware that, like, when you guys show up in costume and you've got people, their priority right now is not to ask a lot of questions and to try and help the people. So,
Nice.
And then we'll be like, we can check in later if you need more information, but we gotta go.
Yeah, at that point, there's like, yeah, no, sure, we got this here. They got enough to know that these people are severely dehydrated and in need of food, malnourishment, so they're getting them downstairs and pardon me, they'll work from there.
I'm gonna poof us back up to the ship.
Okay, poof back up to the ship, and then zippity zip zip, and yes, and cooties, and back to and heading back out to the mountain range.
Well, did we call Alpine and have?
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, I apologize. You're doing that. They are more than willing to take that on. That sounds like absolute fun. Given the get like potential medical breakthroughs. So yes, they get there as quickly as possible, and they will gladly assist.
Okay.
This guy's
Excellent.
like at least 1,100 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's your next step. Then
All right.
what you're doing?
Then we come back.
Okay. So the areas up around those you guys are further exploring the areas around the 20s and 21s and whatnot, and of course 22B I think is hold on a second.
Yeah.
All of that. Doggone it. There we go.
I have a question. I can't remember. Do our walkie-talkie thingies? I can't think of the name.
Communicator.
Communicators. Do they work in the building?
They do not.
Okay, I can't remember.
Okay, so if we're able to get back inside as expected, then once we get in, I'll try and reach out to Hyperion telepathically.
Sure, no problem. So you guys are on your way back. after dropping him off at Alpine Technologies.
Where you is?
The so 19 was in essence on the top floor. That was another secure. It was another secure post, specifically for the docking bay. And then the 20s and all the 20s and 21 and 22. Those are. It looks like that side of the lab was used for other types of experimentation.
Oh, okay.
So those were looks like it was probably more for potential hazardous. So some of them have like what would be appropriate to biohazard signs, or reinforced for something might be explosive, something like that. But it's just basically extra room, so they weren't taking it up in the lab.
Okay.
What was 22A and 22B? Was that like supplies?
It was supplies on that side of the complex, specifically for anybody doing advanced experimentation in this area.
Would
Which when you guys look in the rooms, you can still see like blast marks left over there, or burn marks, where something might have burned up or whatnot.
Is there anything worth salvaging in 22A and 22B?
No, there's not. Again, most everything in here was cannibalized.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the 20s that would have made Sean nervous or get that feeling?
Nope.
That's weird.
All those rooms are they're mostly empty, or just they've got scraps of garbage in there.
Okay.
Broken up wood, rock, so on and so forth. Like again, it was like some of it was like firing ranges. It was the live testing area.
Okay.
Right.
So as Joan makes her way through the building, does the feeling she has stay consistent, or does it get stronger or weaker depending on where they're going?
It maintains a consistency from inside the building.
Okay.
I mean, could it be the radiation?
I believe what she may be experiencing is an inability to teleport through Dravixian.
Ah.
We could test that if shown you're willing to try.
I don't know.
Understandable.
I mean, I saw what happened to Exion. And with my electrical charge I have as it is, I don't want to blow us all up.
Then perhaps it'd be prudent to do other testing elsewhere. With the amount of Dravixium they had access to, it's
Did
a
you,
shame that they didn't have more of it here for us to take.
When you were going through the database, did you come across her father's name at any time?
Would I have come up with any specific names of Dexamites or anything like that?
Nope.
No. No, I did
So-
not.
Real quick on
And by the way, you guys would have had time to explore. 17 is a redundant communications room, and then 18 is the communications array itself.
Ooh.
Okay.
ET
Good.
phone home.
and you said 18 is the communications room?
Well, we're going to study that. Try to figure out that stuff, how they're communicating and all that jazz.
Boy, howdy.
And you
Reverse
said
engineering?
17 was what you said?
A redundant communications room.
Yeah.
Hyperion would know that communications are all primarily in the command center, but they had the backup there too, just in case.
Yeah.
Which pretty standard for most vessels or locations. You're not going to
And
have
just-
communications in just one room.
And just as an update, because I've been recording everything that as far as the rooms go. 1A and 1B, was that the initial hangar?
Yeah.
1A was kind of like the hangar landing bay initially. 1B was kind of like the main check-in security post.
Okay.
So
I have a
basically, if you were looking for a walkthrough, like if presumably you were part of the Dexamite military and you're coming into land,
Right.
you would initially land at 1A. And then,
And then-
you would get out and check in with somebody at 1B, and they'd walk you through that main doorway right there while the vessel was pulled into 2.
Got it.
Oh, okay. So number 2 is the storage hangar.
Yep, storage hangar with the lift that goes down to the bottom floor.
I
I
have a
could
thought.
literally see that thought forming on your face.
And did
Yeah.
we see did we know what was in room number 5?
Yeah, that's again, it's just essentially would have been for more parts.
Okay. This is also parts.
Yep.
Ship parts.
You're correct. And Brittany, you had a thought?
Yes. So, if we're looking for evidence of Electrum, I doubt he would have been known by that name to his people.
Oh, he probably uses.
And I doubt he would have been known by any of the names that we knew him by. So, we have no context for looking for his name anyway.
It's like
But-
Steve from Sector G.
Right. Who knows? We have no
Yeah.
way of knowing what he was called. However, if we have a way to analyze a genetic signature and compare it with any of the Dexamites that were in this facility, like maybe look for, like, use our DNA and compare that to anything that's in the system, maybe we can identify a relation.
That's a good idea.
Possible.
That could work.
If we find a particular port that deals with like genetic records or the records of individuals here, and I'll see if I can find something. There's still some
Or-
areas of the base we haven't explored.
Or even compare it to any of the test subjects that they already had,
True.
just out of curiosity. I don't know.
Makes sense. Let's explore and see if we can find something that gives us that information that we need then.
Would it be back at the command center?
The
Yep, command center would have access to something like that.
check-in behind the check-in room in 4A and 4B. Did we find out what was in those 2 rooms yet?
Nope, nobody ever went there.
Okay, so I am up to date. We knew that 3 is the main CPU or was a CPU room, and we went straight into room 14. So we haven't been into 4s, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Right.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
entire
okay.
spot to the left.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, with the exception of 14.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me, I'll run to the restroom real quick.
Sure.
Be right back.
Bio break.
But if you're going to go down to back to the
Command.
command center, go ahead and roll your reason again.
With the column shift because of the computer?
Yep.
Okay. Man, white feet again.
Woo!
Maybe recalibrate while I send you a roll.
Yep. And it's the same spot. You know, it's the same spot that I had to recalibrate before. Okay,
Yep.
there we go. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna spend
Change his
some.
nickname to Garrus.
Let's see. We're at okay, monstrous. So to get at least the green, that would be 20. I'm gonna spend 20 karma on this roll.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
That's acceptable.
Okay. Yellow feet, 62.
Okay. So you go back through and you actually have a listing of all the people that were stationed here.
Okay.
And it has, and because the Dexamites are who they are, their genetic marker is tied directly to their ID.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Obviously, like memorize all that information.
Okay.
Okay. And then after getting that, turn to like assume Lightbringer's like kind of there with Minim, like
Hovering.
Mhm.
yeah, hovering there, and he's like, I have obtained the information for the individuals who are stationed here, and it looks like they actually did code genetic information with their ID. I've memorized what they have via this command center.
Oh, and by the way, they don't have names like you have names.
Mm. How
Okay.
do they refer to each other then,
Codes.
if at all? Codes. Okay.
Kind
So
of
the-
hate Dexamites.
Oh, so the Dexamites used instead of names, they used codes.
Correct.
Like serial numbers.
7 of 9.
Oh,
They're so
efficient.
inhuman.
They are the Borg.
They act like machines. That's strange. With how they treat the others and how they treat themselves, the efficiency of their language, the advancement of their technology. Strange. They don't act like organic beings, but more like artificial.
But why would they be looking for genetic material, genetic
Compatibility?
perfection? Yeah.
Unknown. Interesting.
Living computers, biological computers.
Clearly there was an organic element to them. They needed sustenance. But how they developed in this way, it's boggling.
Well, it
Well-
kind of explains why our father is the way he is. How he could move on from one to the next without looking back.
He's so cold and calculating.
Yeah.
True. I wonder if he was a full-blooded Dexamite, if he was ever actually a part of their civilization. We don't actually have evidence to show that he was. In fact, everything that he listed in the Veins database makes it seem as if he acts like he's finding some of this information for the first time. Otherwise, if he were a part of their civilization, why wouldn't he know more than what he put in the Veins database?
Perhaps he was a second generation.
You think maybe he was part of one of the
Uh.
successful colonies that branched
Well-
out?
His
A product of this program.
effectively, perhaps our grandparents were of the first generation of the Dexamites, not unlike our powdered skeletal friend downstairs.
Interesting.
And if he was a successful second generation, maybe that was it. Or perhaps he was part of that first generation, but experimented on himself to be able to procreate and have a longer longevity than what was planned.
You did find earlier with your research, especially in New Prussia, that there was genetic engineering that was done that allowed for that procreation.
Yes. Our DNA is partially engineered. It is not all natural.
And they made some sort of headway, but not fast enough to save all of them, obviously. Let's finish researching this facility to see if there's any other bits of information we could obtain. And I also need to check on the communications array to see if I can understand its operation.
I
Is
can't help
there-
but take a mental note of how accurate our group's name has become.
True.
We are truly what seems to be the legacy of not only Electrum, but could very well be perhaps what is left of the Dexamite Empire.
Possibly. Let's keep all this in mind while we finish exploring.
Is there any place that we could input and compare DNA?
Yeah, like could we do that on Ixion's ship, or would we have to do that
Oh, yeah.
like, back at base?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Remember, Ixion's ship is a scientific ship,
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
specifically
So we don't
geared for
need-
biology.
Specifically biology. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't need the facility to do that.
No, you
Okay.
do not.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have.
I'm
that
wanting.
info.
I'm wanting to pirate a couple things if possible. That if I see anything that I don't
So
already have.
Hyperion, why don't you give me an intuition check as you go over the array,
Okay. Intuition.
making
EX
sure you don't miss anything.
Right. Okay.
Karma.
Yeah, yeah. If I spend at least 40, I'll get a green result. We good with
Ooh,
that?
look at all the
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to do any damage to you guys. You guys are burning through karma left, right, and center. It's like, no, give me the roll. Give me the roll.
Mhm.
Calibrate beforehand. You don't have to calibrate.
But we get like 5 points back for rescuing innocents. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We just need to save a small town every episode.
There you go.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
You're like-
so with that 40,
You're like, could we put Guam in peril again, and then just save them?
Only a little bit of peril.
Just a little bit of peril.
Very minor peril.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a little bit of problem. 86 yellow feet.
Okay. So you look, it's going to be a massive task because the array takes up an entire room. But looking it over, you take in what you think you might be able to recreate. The problem, of course, is having the material available to do so.
Okay.
And the room, because this would not fit directly in the vein. You'd probably have to find a new location to build something like this. Or if you were smart enough, try and find a way to condense it down with micro technology. But again, so challenges. But you have you have Sister Big Brain, who can go way the heck out there, and you've got hyper invention, so it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right. Okay. Could I gather from what I've gathered so far on this thing, like what its range of communication would have been?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's beyond your comprehension.
Wow.
If you went based on your most conservative calculations, looking at it, you're like, this is intergalactic.
Awesome.
So when you read the logs, they were trying to hail,
Mary?
the Empire.
Yeah.
It was probably way far away, whole systems away.
Okay. Within this galaxy, or even outside this galaxy?
Oh, well beyond this galaxy. And you're looking at what, in essence, would be potentially faster than light travel communication.
Right. Yep. It'd have to be. Okay.
Warp
Very cool.
speed.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So then he finishes that. He's like, gained as much as I can from here.
Was that in room 18?
That was, 18. So now we can go and explore like room. Let's see, we already went to room 6. So then explore like rooms.
What was room 6?
That was the thing that had oh wait, did we go in room 6? Actually. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's go in room 6 then.
So room 6 is specifically for what would have been, or no, actually, no, you didn't actually go in there. Okay, so no, room 6 would have been what looks to be like a holding area for the recorders when they first bring in people.
Okay.
So it's very rudimentary. Like, this is where they probably would have initially hosed them off. And whatnot.
The recorders or the people?
The people.
The people.
Essentially, the recorders would have walked them, in here, dropped them off, and then they would have hosed them down and taken them below, below in the elevator shaft.
Got it. Okay.
The rest of the areas, like the 15s, That is the facility, in essence, the restrooms and showers.
Okay.
16 is, or the 16s are what would have been recreation. There's still some here. Most of it's cannibalized. But they have the equivalent of like what probably would have been like a type of air hockey table.
Okay.
And then
Star Wars battle chess.
Sure.
and then the remainder of the rooms, some of them it's hard to say. They don't really have markings on them. If you had to guess, some of them were probably sleeping quarters for
So
additional
like
guests.
12, 13, 11.
Or
Those
perhaps offices for very important personnel that maybe weren't used frequently, but they were there in case somebody showed
Guest
up.
quarters.
In some cases, some people who are important to a project are going to have an office, but they're not always there.
Right.
It's
Okay.
only there for when they show up on site. So
And that was 7 through 13.
probably, yeah. So
Alright.
it's some sort of quarters, maybe some sort of offices.
Okay. While going through all of those, was there any computers to hook up to grab information from, anything like that?
It looks like there probably would have been, but again, there are anything that would have been useful tech outside of like desks and chairs, again,
They took that too.
cannibalized. To keep things working.
Gotcha.
And the only two rooms that I do not have is 4A and 4B.
So 4A was another secure area, specifically for people checking in. It looks like because there's what would appear to be like lockers in this area. 4B is what appears to be, it's more lockers and a changing area. So this 4B could have also been maybe a detox area. Hard to say. But both of them look like they were there for the purposes of people like shift change, stow their gear, that sort of thing.
Okay. Okay, that gives me all of the rooms.
All right. Excellent. And in all of these locations, it probably didn't like provide an explanation of like where they sourced the Dravixium to build this entire facility. No. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. All
Mm.
right.
The scary thought, now that you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
is that they thought so little of it that they just didn't bring it up.
Yeah. Right. Be like, wow, was this just insanely abundant, or what was going on for them? Okay.
Yeah, how it in today's day and age, it's very rare, right?
Oh, 100%. The only place that has it
How-
is Senia.
How long has it been used by
It was in use. I don't think I gave it a specific time, but it take a look at my own notes because it's tied to Senia. I think I put it
like
someplace
when
after
it was
World War II.
discovered or something?
But let me check. Boop, doop, 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 doop. Where are my? Here we go. No, it's a world overview. It's not what I need. Yeah, new locations. Here we go. Do 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 do. So it was discovered in the 1930s.
Okay.
I actually did specifically put it on here. Yep.
Nice.
But they didn't, because they were unfamiliar with the metal and weren't sure how to operate with it. There was little opportunity to even try and capitalize it until the war broke out in 1941.
Okay.
So it was discovered. It just nobody had a way to do
Process
anything
it.
with it at that
Smelt
point
it
until
or
after the
process
war.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so so actually, I guessed right, even looking at my own notes. So by 1951 is when the Senian government, desperate to rebuild after World War II, finally discovered a way to start smelting it and turning it into a viable metal.
Cool. Okay.
And so it actually finally started. By the 1970s is when population started swelling in Senia, and that is largely because of the rare ore, because they just had so much money flowing in at that point from governments trying to buy it. So it started becoming government use in other countries sometime in the 1970s.
Okay. All right. So then it looks like we've explored the entire facility.
Is there any spare pieces of, or easily carried pieces of Druvixium that we could effectively take with us, or
Nope.
I mean, anything? No.
What are the chairs made of?
The chairs are made of, cushions, and the frames themselves are made of similar metal that the recorders are made from.
Okay.
Do we want to take some of the salvage parts for the ship?
What was that
Right.
panel that I unscrewed? Is that thing like
Yeah, what
loose
about
now?
the panel?
But that was a panel of Druvixium.
Yeah, we want that.
Did we? Can we take that with us?
Yoink. Sure.
Yeah. All right.
So
It'll
you
fetch
have
fetch a pretty penny on the black market.
I mean, yeah, it actually would if you wanted to sell it. So you have what is the equivalent to a 5x5 panel, so 5-inch by 5-inch panel of Druvixium,
5 foot
which is
by
like a
5
quarter-inch
foot.
thick.
She's a 5
kidding.
foot by 5 foot.
Wrong.
Yeah. Okay. You know,
Nice try,
enough to do tests on to figure out how this stuff works.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you absolutely can.
Cool. Okay. All right. And so then he would turn to Lightbringer and Shone and go, status report on your mission. Did it work out well?
Yes, no questions asked at the hospital, and Alpine was only too happy to help us out with this experiment.
Excellent. Well, unless there's anything else anyone wanted to accomplish in this facility, there's not much that we can take with us when we leave, except for some of those spare parts that we found in the other room. But it won't be much. Beyond that, I think I've gleaned as much information as I can regarding the recorders, the power generation technology, the communications array, and everything else that seems to be here. The rest of the information, again, they seem to have scrubbed because of whatever had happened to their empire.
So, who needs to know about this place, and do we need to keep it accessible, or is there some way we can destroy it, or should we destroy it?
I can't think of a way to somehow destroy a facility that's surrounded by Druvixium metal. It's
Not to mention
unlikely.
the fact that we have a unknown element fission core that if we attempted to destroy
Good
this,
point.
it could be catastrophic,
Right.
and most likely would be. The fallout could be detrimental to a huge area, not to mention we would be nothing less than vapor at that point.
I just assumed that nobody ever finds this again, except maybe us. But
If
those-
authorities do ask us eventually where we found them, we would need to be at least somewhat forthcoming with that information, especially if
Those-
we're to convince everyone that we've dealt with the recorder situation.
I think those people have a right to know what happened to them
Well, they would
to
need
an
a,
extent too, as much as there is context for them to understand.
Out of character. You are abducted, probed, and we saved you.
yeah. But don't they need?
Aliens are real.
Yeah.
Aliens.
So don't they need like some type of? We entered using like the vibration of something, if I'm remembering
It
correctly.
is highly unlikely that anyone's
I-
gonna just stumble in there.
Yeah, I mean, like you could tell them, "Hey, the facility's here, but there's no way in."
They
I
would
would
know
not-
that that's not true because we obviously found a way in to rescue the others.
Just tell them it's classified.
Yeah, it's classified.
They would likely demand that we relinquish that information since it's in the United States. When the other recorders were actually defeated in Strongford, the remains were taken away by federal agents to other off-location black sites. So it's likely that the federal government has an extreme interest in this type of technology.
I'm sure
Do
they
you know
do.
who those? Do you know who those agents were?
No, just it was obvious that they were being taken to other sites by the government. So it's likely that we will need to relinquish this information. I think by what we have here, though, it's not as if they're going to gain access to a weapon system or a viral or bacterial agent, anything of that nature. If anything, this is now an extremely large source of Dravixium if they're able to actually remove it somehow. And learning somewhat about the other technology here, everything that I've already looked through.
Jerome, how much do we know about how Dravixium is mined?
Nothing.
That would be very interesting to find out.
It would be. It would also require a trip to Senia to try and figure out.
No,
Aha.
no.
Weird.
I guess go home.
We have technically done what we came here to do. We saved them, found information, and we have neutralized the threat.
I'm eager to look at these genetic codes.
Oh yeah.
So that is where we're going to stop for tonight. Then you guys will have time to discuss that in the chat to figure out what you want. So you for rescuing 4 people, not just 3, 4. So that's 5 a pop. So 5 karma each for neutralizing a monstrous threat that is MN75. So keep in mind that's 20 because you all took care of the same thing. So 20 times 6,
Right.
and then everybody gets 75 times 6
Okay, 6 times 75.
for neutralizing the threat. And yeah, so
So that's 570 karma we just earned.
Nice.
Is that more than we spent?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we spent 185 of
Oh,
that.
not too bad.
So that means we'll be
Cool.
putting 385 back into banked karma, which then makes that a total of 6,935.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
It's still Brittany's turn, right?
Oh yeah, I need to.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
We were just
And I'm
here.
after, after Brittany. Yeah.
Yep. So, thank you guys all for hanging out with us tonight and playing with us. We will be back again with this game on August the 3rd. Next week is Cyberpunk on the 24th and Street Fighter on
It's
the
going to be an
25th.
exciting game.
Both of which
Yeah.
are going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, sit tight, and I hope you either watch it live or check it out on the replay. Thank you guys for playing tonight, and have a good one. Good night.
Night.
Night.